Welcome back to the Page Education Network YouTube channel. Figured I would do a little video here that I am now calling "The Sickness is Rising" Day 5. I didn't do day 1 through 4 because I didn't realize I was going to be this sick for this long. But yeah, I'm pretty bad off right now. I don't know what I have. If it's the flu, if it's Corona again, if it's some kind of bronchitis mixture like I had last year after I had Corona, if it's fucking just some crazy common cold, if it's fucking RSV. I mean, there could be like 20 different things right now. It could be, but yeah, I just wish it would get over with already because it fucking sucks. It sucks real bad. I hate being sick ever. The two things I hate most actually are being sick and throwing up, and I think throwing up is obviously the top of the list, but just being sick in general is definitely like a close number 2 is what it is. But yeah, it's like, God, if only they would, take away the pain right now. It would be so much better off. It's like, Jesus, come on, take the wheel, baby. I want to get off of this fucking train. But yeah, so far, what we assumed happened was we had gone to the store last week. Mom thinks that she caught something from somebody else then, which is probably one of the people that got fucking flu shots or corona shots or something more recently. And I would be guessing they were vaccine shedding, would be my assumption there. And yeah, she got sick here earlier this week around like Tuesday or Wednesday, I think is what it was. Actually, maybe Monday, Tuesday, I'm thinking about it. And then I thought I was okay because I was, trying to preempt the shit and take a bunch of stuff and whatnot. But yeah, by like Wednesday night, Thursday morning, I ended up getting real shitty. And then the last couple of days, it was just horrible, man. I was having my body was like crazily hot for about 8 hours or so a couple of days ago, and then I passed out for like I think 3 or 4 hours. And during that sleep, apparently it broke the fever because I woke up in like a pool of sweat, but I was all like sort of like clammy cool is what it was, which is nice because that's happened to me several times in my life, and it's essentially my own antibodies doing their work and fighting off whatever the sicknesses that I'm having right now and making sure that I don't die is what it is. So anyway, so that happened, and then it was basically I had felt a little bit better here. I think it was yesterday, and then last night it was basically nose started running like a fucking sieve, and it's not even like running, but it's just like dripping. Where all of a sudden it just like wants to like leak, and I'm just like, come on, man. And yeah, I'm going through like box after box of Kleenex right now, just trying to stop that. And then, of course, my throat's all raspy and shit. I've had a sore throat since basically the beginning of the week. And I don't know if it's like strep throat maybe on top of everything else then. But I have no idea, man. It sucks though. But yeah, so that's going on. And then apparently, like this morning when I woke up earlier today, my I felt like my like lung and like throat area had like a bunch of congestion in it. Like it was gonna like start like spitting up like mucus and shit like that or something. So I'm gonna try to find something to take so I can maybe break that shit up and get that gone then in the next day or two, and hopefully that helps with some other stuff. Then if that be the case, and yeah, right now it just it fucking sucks, man. It feels like somebody took a club or a baseball bat and smacked me in pretty much every joint that I have in my body, specifically in the cruxes of my elbows and in both of my kneecaps. Like the inflammation is just so bad right now. And again, going back to something I mentioned earlier this week about edibles and stuff like that, and legalization and gun rights and stuff like that, I really wish they would just fucking government would just fuck off, and all that shit should be legal anyways. What it is, dude, together. Because honestly, right now, I could definitely use something, some kind of a fucking like THC lollipop or some gummies or something. just to like numb the fucking pain that I'm having right now in my joints. So anyway, yeah, it just sucks, man. But then you got fucking, everything else going on, and it's just all kinds of crazy bullshit then. So I don't know anymore. It fucking sucks, dude. It really does. And then on top of everything else, it's hard to walk because your knees are so fucked is what it is. I ain't been this bad off since, actually, no, it's not quite as bad as that time, but yeah, it would have been 19 years ago when I had my full body peeling during Christmas, when I had, they put me on the wrong medications for something I wasn't even, that was misdiagnosed is what it was back then by some dumb bitch. You should never have medical lessons in this country ever again after that. And if I had realized how, short medical malpractice suits are, I would have sued the fuck out of her the day I got out of the hospital, honestly. But anyway, she misdiagnosed me as some stuff and then put me on this medication that basically caused my body to swell up, is what it was. A bunch of dumbass doctors at the hospitals were like, oh no, it's nothing. And it was just my arm, it was just my like hands and wrist being all, clearly rashed out is what it was at the time. And then eventually it just got worse and worse, and I had stopped taking the shit like a week before that, but it didn't matter because it was already enough of it built up in my body to fuck me up is what it was. And yeah, it swelled so badly. It was like all the way around my kneecaps to where it was basically like swollen skin on swollen skin, and it was almost impossible to get up and walk because of that. Hang on a sec. But yeah, so that's basically what happened there. I'm sorry. Can't help the coughing. I think I'm spitting up phlegm now is what it is too. So, but yeah, so basically going back to that, it was basically, yeah, almost impossible to walk. We ended up going to stat care that day, and they were like, yeah, there's nothing we can do for you here. Go to the hospital. And so we went to the hospital, and the one doctor / nurse guy that was in the ER was like, oh yeah, it's 100% this medication that you were on that caused all this. And so honestly, I should have had a lawsuit both against the doctor that prescribed the medication and Big Pharma back in those days. But unfortunately, I had neither because of the way our fucking piece of shit congressmen and senators and stuff like that are, dude. The scumbag career politicians in this country that fuck us over at a state and federal level every single time, dude. Because they're jerking these fucking corporate lobbyists off and backroom deals and taking kickbacks and everything else like that. Or it's even worse, it's the FDA basically approving this garbage and then going and members of the FDA are going and working for these companies 2, 3, 5 years later, whatever it is. Just like what happened with the opioid crisis in Purdue Pharma, where you had some fucking dick stain in the FDA give that the approval without the black box label on it, which would have made it addictive as fuck at that point. It would have made him have less money to get there because he would have had to have like he would have had to have be super prescribed at that point. And instead it got like some lesser label is what it was. And then it was that asshole at the FDA. Then a couple years later left the FDA and went to go work for the drug manufacturer, making fucking hundreds of millions of dollars a year. And, that's the kind of stuff that honestly should be executionable offenses in this country because you're committing crimes against humanity at that point. You're killing American citizens with what you're doing because you're a greedy piece of shit is what it is, dude. And the fact that you're not being brought up on Nuremberg trials for that kind of shit is ridiculous. And the same thing right now with the fucking, the Jiminy jabs and stuff like that, dude. Whether it be fucking Pfizer, or Moderna, or AstraZeneca, or any of these fucking people, dude. Any of these fucking things are on the market right now, dude. Every single one of these CEOs and these executives need to be tried with fucking Nuremberg trials, dude. And the same thing with the politicians that signed off on this shit to give these fuckers basically qualified immunity is what it was. And the fact that we're not already doing that is absolutely ridiculous in this country. So, anyway. And for those interested, basically it was that whole thing that happened to me at 18 that essentially led to me wanting to eventually get into politics is what it was. Because I realized, hey, I can't do anything from the outside, might as well go on the inside is what it is. And so, yeah, I've always had aspirations since then to basically, it wasn't even to run for office. It was basically, hey, I need to get into office to change the fucking stupid ass rules is what it is, and allow people that aren't me to be able to have more time to sue these fucking scumbag doctors and these scumbag big pharmaceutical companies in the future. Because obviously the thing with malpractice lawsuits is they give you 365 days. Dude, that ain't enough time. You need at least 10 years anyway. Because the thing is, with me, a lot of my symptoms didn't start showing until like 2, 3, 4 years later is what it was. It wasn't until I was like 21, 22 when I started having real bad psoriasis and stuff like that from that whole thing. And that was an after effect. And then it continued on and got worse. And it was a bunch of other stuff that got worse. And every single health problem I've had since then was because of that shit, dude. And when you gotta be put on fucking drugs to give you an autoimmune suppressant, basically is what it is. It's a bunch of shit, dude. To stop you from basically being curled up in a fetal position for fucking days to weeks at a time and being completely bedridden. And then you got fucking state officials telling me, oh, but you're an able-bodied male. No, I'm not. Like, that's the last fuck. Like, dude, are you fucking retarded? Like, if I'm not on this medication, I am fucking crippled. Even on the medication, I'm not that great. I can maybe go at like maybe 50% strength at that point. I'm not even 100%. And it's like ridiculous, honestly, dude. It just fucking pisses me off. Especially when you have all these illegals coming into our country, fucking somehow getting free handouts from our government. It's like, nah, man, that should go to American citizens, not fucking illegal aliens. So, I still don't understand how the hell they qualify. Because it's like, you're not legally in this country, dude. Like, how the fuck are you qualifying for this? Unless they're stealing somebody's identity is what it is, which would make sense, honestly, at that point. But anyway, yeah, I'm just fucking over it, dude. I believe, honestly, when it's all said and done, and we do go to... I see this basically being a timeline of the next 10 years or so of America. I believe next year, you're going to start having people seriously discussing balkanization in this country because they're sick and tired of the bullshit. They're sick and tired of the fucking cheating in this country and everything else like that by a bunch of scumbag Democrats and a bunch of asshole rhinos and stuff like that. They're all establishment. And they've just had it. You know, I've had it. They've had it. Everybody's had it. It is what it is. And then eventually everybody's going to basically figure out, like, okay, you know, yeah, this balkanization is going to suck a little bit, but in the long run, we're going to be better off as a country if this happens. And you're going to have states start to secede, I think, in the coming years. I mean, Texas already has a referendum. I think it's the 2024 election cycle. And they could potentially kick things off at that point, man. And if they kick things off, I think you're definitely going to see some balkanization happen in the next couple of years in this country then. And I believe, truthfully, like, I think 2024 election cycle will definitely be the death nail of America at this point, dude. One way or another. Because it's either going to be, we're going to have a free and fair election again for the first time ever in, like, the last fucking 40 years probably is what it is. Or it's going to be the continued fucking cheating since 2020 is what it's going to be, dude, which I think exactly what's going to happen right now. It's like, you're already got them fucking cheating, 2 election cycles. Why would they stop, kind of thing. And that's the ones we know about, by the way. I'm sure that they've done it way before that even, especially in places like California and New York and stuff like that, where they can just dump a bunch of illegals there and have them vote for fucking, give them IDs to fucking drive and then have them vote with those IDs is what it is. So, which, by the way, why the fuck are you giving illegal aliens IDs unless you're trying to have them vote with voter ID laws, dude? So, anyway, but yeah, I think you're definitely going to see, like, an uprising in this country. And eventually what's going to happen is we're going to see some kind of balkanization event. You'll probably have the federal government respond, which is unconstitutional, by the way, right now. You'll probably have them respond with some kind of Insurrection Act kind of bullshit or something like that, or maybe like some kind of martial law declaration or something like that. The U.S. military will be divided. Some of them will side with Biden and company. Others, especially ex-veteran, or especially the ex-military, the vets in this country and stuff like that, will definitely side with the American people in most cases. You'll have the cops be divided as well, I think. You'll have a lot of county sheriffs that'll actually keep their oath to office and to the people, and some sheriff's deputies as well on that one that will be very constitutional and be willing to fight, fucking tyranny is what it is. And then you'll have a bunch of bitches who are most like big city cops and police chiefs and stuff like that that'll side with fucking federal government is what it is. And then you'll potentially have maybe potentially some kind of crazy civil war out of that. And if that be the case and that happens, then you continue on with various things, and that's going to take a few years and stuff like that. And then eventually, what's going to happen is 3-4 years down the road, you're going to start having tribalistic warfare, where it's various groups of different races most likely fighting against each other, or even in that same vein of things, if it's like some like leftist white dude fighting some right-wing white dude and stuff like that kind of thing, where it might be like people of the same race fighting each other on different political sides of the aisles, what it is then still. But either way, it's going to be like a tribalistic thing, and it's going to continue on for X amount of time there, and then you're going to have basically, I believe, out of all that, a potential American Revolution if it goes that far. But the thing of it is, you'd have to start with obviously a civil war, because unless you're going to have it be a revolution the entire time through, which is not going to be the case, it can never be a civil war. Only a civil war can start a revolution. It's a weird thing. I don't know exactly what the deal is with it. It's some weird thing that somebody came up with years ago and stuff like that, or decades ago. And that's the reason why there was a difference between, our founders in the first American Revolution and then obviously the first American Civil War. And the thing is, I think there's a lot of people across this earth right now as well who are fed up with government tyranny in general, dude. I mean, we're already seeing what's going on in China right now, dude. In China, I was talking to some people last week, actually. It was Honda and them in the back chat. And I was asking, I was like, hey, does anybody know of a time in the next, like, since America had our revolution, if China's had, like, something similar to that or whatever? And the closest any of us could find it was like 1643 or something like that. And it was them ousting some dictator guy back then. So they really haven't had a revolution in their country, since, like, the 1600s is what it was, dude. So you're talking about potentially like 4 centuries, or almost 4 centuries is what it is, like 3.5 or so. So yeah, I could easily see them, kicking something off right now, and then basically having that just spread across the fucking earth is what it is, dude. Because we're already seeing stuff as well in places like Italy and France and Germany and stuff like that is what it is, dude. As well as different parts of the UK, the Netherlands with the farmers, tossing shit on Parliament's doorstep and stuff like that. But of course, now they're trying to fuck those people over anyway, and they're trying to cull the cattle there is what it is. And yeah, I think you're definitely going to see, a mass awakening is what it is right now, dude, of just people having enough of tyranny. And if they can fight back against the tyrannical governments, dude, like, it's awesome. And it would be, the crux of this country is what it would be, man. And the crux of this earth is what it would be. Because you would finally have us going back to, potentially, well, actually, I'm saying not even just America for that matter, but like the rest of the world potentially could go to a point in time in history where they're all constitutional republics is what it is, dude. Where they would all have the right to keep and bear arms. And if that be the case, that would be awesome, dude. That being said, I heard the other day that the fucking French were apparently just handing over guns left and right to the fucking government in some kind of seizure thing. And it's like, bro, how the fuck are you going to cuck out like that? Nah, man. Like, grow some goddamn balls and fight their asses. It's like, no wonder that you were fucking, also ousted with the fucking British Empire when we beat your asses in 1776, man. And that's what it really is, honestly. You look at most of the people that live in those countries now, dude. It's the descendants and stuff like that of all the pussified people back then, dude. That all ran back home with their tail between their legs and shit like that and had a bunch of kids. Versus us that are all, well, not all of us are direct descendants of, like, founding fathers or anything like that, but, a lot of us are actually immigrants. Like, my family was a bunch of immigrants from Poland and Germany and France and Ireland. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else in my mixture. There's at least those 4 for sure. And actually, I found out recently that a lot of my Polish ancestors, the reason that they fled to America here was because they were being kidnapped by Russian forces back in those days. They were farmers in the few years before Lenin took over power. It became the USSR and stuff like that. And they were being kidnapped by the Russian forces back then. You know, burlap sacked in the middle of the night or whatever it was, and drug over to the Russian side of the border because the Poland side was like pretty close to that Russian border is what it was. And then you'd have Polish soldiers at the time were figuring out that, oh, these families are gone. Like, what the hell happened? And then would like go over to Russia's side and find them and then take them back is what it was. And apparently this was happening like quite frequently, like I guess at least several times, not several dozen times, to finally where my ancestrage of my family finally had it is what it was. And they're like, fuck this. They packed up what little belongings they had and jumped on a steamship and came here to America and Ellis Island and stuff like that. And then eventually they settled in Ohio is what it was. In different, well, I think it was actually different parts of Ohio and different parts of New York is what it was then as well. And yeah, it was very interesting, dude. I think there's also a part of my family from West Virginia as well, and it might have been some of those ones that settled down there as well, is what it was. But yeah, it was basically like those three states is what it ended up being. And I think most of them eventually like resettled then to Ohio, legitimately. Then is what it was. But yeah, it was just very interesting. And then so that's one side of my lineage, and then obviously my Irish ancestrage. They were just a bunch of fucking crazy motherfuckers is what it was, dude. Like they were all ready to box and everything else like that every time. Obviously, I think over the decades and stuff, the drinking's been brought out of the family is what it is though, because we're not a lot of big drinkers anymore. Well, not all of us anyway. I got a couple here in my family, but not many. I'm not a big drinker myself. I don't really like the taste of alcohol that much. And I've never liked the taste of beer actually at all. I've never found a beer I actually liked. Most of them just taste like piss water. And my thing is like, it's one of those things where it's like, I think you have to develop a taste for some of that stuff. And I just never developed a taste for it is what it is. So, in fact, if I'm going to drink something, it's probably going to be either like a hard cider or like one of like the Mike's Hard Lemonades or something like that kind of a thing, or maybe some Smirnoff Ice or something. Like some kind of like wine coolery type drink. Mostly because of the fact that those actually have a good taste to them is what it is. And to me, again, if I'm going to drink that kind of stuff. I'm not going to drink like, a fucking Bud or a Miller or a fucking Corona or whatever the case be. It's going to be, something else is what it will be then. And don't get me started on tall boys, dude. Like, ugh. Actually, one thing, when I was at my cousin's reception here over the summer, before my one uncle died, the family had put out these huge ass coolers. And I'll tell you what, they are the side that has a lot of fucking drinkers in that side of the family, dude. Because there was just like, it was like 2 full coolers full of shit, dude. And then they had a smaller one that was full of something else as well. So it was like 2 big coolers full of different beers and stuff like that. Then it was like a smaller cooler that had like different kinds of like various like, I forget what those are called, like seltzer things or whatever it was, like the hard seltzers and shit. Dude, I'll tell you what. Oh my God. I don't know what kind it was. It was like some kind of pink or something like that coloration in it. That is one of the most disgusting things I've ever tasted in my entire life. It just tasted gross as fuck, man. And interestingly enough, it didn't start tasting good. Like I had like maybe like I had like sipped about like a quarter of it out of the cup or whatever, and it was like it just tasted awful. Like I don't know what because I think it was supposed to be some kind of like raspberry flavoring or something, and it was not raspberry flavoring at all, dude. Like it just tasted like straight fucking rubbing alcohol, basically, is what it was. And so yeah, I ended up taking that back over to the table and stuff. Realized they had some lemonade sitting on the table there, in like a thing to pour it out or whatever. And I just walked over there, poured some lemonade on top of that stuff, mixed it together, and dude, I'll tell you what, after I did that, that shit tasted decently. It actually tasted good after that because it had the lemonade flavor to it, is what it was then. So yeah, if I'm ever gonna do that or whatever, if I ever had that stuff or whatever, I would take like half a can of that and like a big chunk of or a big glass of lemonade on top of that then, and then just mix it together is what it'd be then, and it might actually be good. But yeah, that was just awful though. Like that just did not taste good at all, and that's the problem with some of that stuff, dude. And it's like I don't understand how people drink that shit, honestly, in some cases. But yeah, needless to say, it's going to be a situation where it, for me, I don't really usually drink unless it's like really because I'm just poor is what it is, and that's one of the reasons I don't usually drink at all is what it is. But if I had the money to get something on a regular basis, I'd probably get like some Smirnoff Ice or something like that, and have a drink here or there is what it is. But yeah, actually, the last couple of years, the only time I've ever drank was when I was with extended family like that, where they had free booze just sitting there is what it was, and I'm just like, well, it's here, I might as well take some of it, and I did. So, and then I got my sister's friend had a book that she had written earlier this year, and we went to her publishing party is what it was there, and her grandmother had given everybody free little bottles of martini and Rossi Asti, like it was almost like a little miniature for every person is what it was. So it'd basically be enough for like a glass is what it ends up being then. None of us actually drank that night, and those are still sitting in the fridge right now. I'm probably going to pop one of those for New Year's. And most likely it'll be something where Mom and I both have a little bit of it is what it is. Because we're not going to both drink a whole one is what it will be. We'll probably just drink one of them and then have the other one for like later on down the road or something. But yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that tastes like, if it tastes good or not. But just my luck, I would be like, oh, this is really, really good. And then it's actually the expensive shit that I'm actually into. Although I have heard good things about, like, there is some kind of booze out there where it's like some weird, like, caramel. It's like a scotch that has like a caramel taste to it or something. The problem is it's like several hundred to several $1,000s a fucking bottle or something. And I'm like, man, that's some rich man shit right there. I'm not going to pay that kind of money for that. That's ridiculous. But, yeah, my thing is I'm always one of these guys that's done like mixed drinks and stuff in my life. So when I actually did drink, which wasn't very often. But anyway, going back full circle to the sickness. Yeah, I think I'm getting slightly worse right now. I'm not feeling the greatest right now. I haven't been feeling great all day, actually. And my voice is definitely getting, I think, raspier is what it is. So if I don't do anything for the next, like, 4 days to, like, a week or so, you guys know exactly why. I plan on being on Honda's cast tonight if he sends me a link. I don't know how much I'll be able to bring that conversation, though, because, again, I'll probably be, coughing and sneezing and shit like that is what it is, blowing my nose and stuff, and I don't really want to have that, pop up on the fucking, on the thing, so I'll probably be muting most of the cast is what it'll be, unless I have something really good to say is what it is. Sorry, I had to do that, because my fucking nose is... That's exactly what I'm talking about, too, by the way, about muting, is otherwise it's going to be that in the background most of the night, which I don't think I'm going to be that kind of an asshole is what it is. I'm not going to, well, I shouldn't say I'm not going to be that kind of an asshole, I'm just not going to be that kind of an asshole is what it is. I want to make sure I'm muted when I'm, doing shit like that is what it is, unless, like, something comes out of nowhere and I end up sneezing or something, which is, not my fault, and it's one of those things that can't be helped, and sometimes you can't hit the button in time or whatever. But yeah, for the most part, I'll probably be muted for the most of the fucking cast, unless I have something like real important to say, or unless the topic comes up. I was actually sending Honda some links to stuff this morning, actually, on his Discord, talking about trash pandas, because there's actually a video I found on Reddit this morning of some woman who, she is with her daughter, or I should say her daughter's like, I think her daughter's like coming home from school or something is what it was, and all of a sudden, like, this crazy ass raccoon who may or may not have been rabid, like, basically tries to attack the kid. It's like acting like it wants to gnaw on her fucking leg and shit, and she's like freaking the fuck out. Mom comes running out, grabs the fucking coon by the scruff of the fucking neck, and it's like trying to like fight and like run around, like basically like, 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 let me go, Karen, kind of thing or whatever. And it actually looks pretty funny, and it's even funnier with the fucking audio, because she's basically saying like, it's a rabid raccoon, get in the house. And yeah, it's one of the funnier things I've seen in a while, man. And yeah, then she like tries to throw it, but like fake. I don't know if it was like trying to like grab her arm or something like that, so she couldn't throw it out properly or whatever. So she does like this fake throw of like it's like a sack of potatoes or something, and then she eventually like is like yelling some more stuff or whatever the case be, being like rabid or whatever, and then eventually like chucks the fucking coon out into the front yard and stuff, and the coon just runs off is what it is, and she and her kid running the house is what it ends up being then. So it's pretty funny. But yeah, my thing is if it actually is like a rabies raccoon, then dude, like you're gonna have to get that kid probably a fucking rabies shot then, man, and that's not fun. Like I would be scared as shit. Like I wouldn't let them. Like I would have that motherfucker by the fucking neck and tell him able to like, set it down and basically kick its head in is what it would be then, dude. Or better yet, I'd be coming out with a fucking gun and just be like, pow, pow, pow. Fucking, doing what needs to be done at that point if it is actually a rabies raccoon and stuff like that, dude. That way you could actually, because the thing is, when they catch those things, they have to kill them anyway just to confirm that their, brain has rabies in it and shit like that. Because that's the only way to actually diagnose that stuff. With like an animal necropsy is what it is. So yeah, like you might as well just come out blasting is what it is, man. And then, call the fucking cops and be like, or animal control, or whatever it is then, and be like, yeah, this thing was trying to attack my child or whatever. And, straight up be like, hey, you guys need to do like a necropsy of this motherfucker and figure out from there what it'll be then. But yeah, and then if we do talk about that tonight, then I'm going to talk about some trash panda stories that I've been told from family friends and shit over the years. That was pretty funny. Dude, raccoons are crazy, but they're also smart, is what it is. And the thing is, when they're little babies, they're super, super cute. But yeah, they are definitely a wild-ass animal. And the thing is, they can be friendly. But yeah, if they ever go rabid, like, oh man, you're going to be in for some fucking shit at that point, dude. And it's even worse when you got like rabid dogs and stuff that'll like fight a raccoon or something and then get like scratched or bit or whatever. And then you got like a fucking Cujo situation, and it's like, yeah, fuck that shit, dude. I don't think I ever have watched that movie all the way through. I've seen like parts of it where they were like basically being trapped by the crazy ass like rabid dog is what it was. And dude, that shit is scary as fuck, even as an adult. Like, fuck that shit. Again, this is why you carry a gun, man. Like that, nature's scary as fuck is what it is, dude. I mean, hell, I was watching a video the other day too. One of my friends had posted on Facebook. And it was a dead goat that was eaten whole by a fucking big-ass monitor lizard. And I'm just like, fuck that, man. Like, nah, bro. Like, nature is scary as fuck. Like, carry a gun. Seriously. And if you can afford to, carry a bigger gun. If you're going to be out in some crazy-ass wilderness with, like, big-ass game and stuff like that, carry a big fucking rifle and shit, dude. That's super high power, and it can take those fuckers down with one shot is what it is. So, anyway, but yeah, there's definitely some psychotic animals in the wilderness, in the animal kingdom, and in the wilderness and everything else like that. And, it doesn't help when you got crazy fucking disease after crazy fucking disease. It's like chronic wasting disease and rabies and shit like that. Like, nah, bro, that's all bad news right there. So, anyway, but, yeah, this is basically just an update, telling you guys what's going on with my sickness, and like I said, it's more or less like a head cold now, it seems like, and then my joints are just aching like a bitch is what it is, and I'm having, it seems like I'm having fevers off and on now, because my fever broke the other day, but now it seems like my head's a little bit hot again, so I think maybe I'm going to take my temperature here in a couple minutes, see if I'm actually running a fever again or not, and, yeah, we'll go from there and then take some stuff maybe to see if it'll break my fever then, if that be the case. But other than that, that's pretty much where we're at for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, I'll be back. I don't know when right now. It's not going to be while I'm still sick. I'll tell you that right now. I'm going to keep myself. Well, maybe one. Well, I don't know. If I know for a fact, like, I'm legit dying and I'm able to, like, make a fucking video, be like, this is my last video because I'm actually on death's door kind of thing or whatever the case be. Like, maybe I'll make, like, a dying declaration kind of thing is what it is, dude. But other than that, like, probably not is what it'll be. I'll probably just, like I said, get over this and then come back in the next week or so is what it is then, hopefully. Hopefully it's not one of these things like it was last year where it lasts, like, the entire fucking month and then the next month as well on that one, because that's what happened with the corona last year. It was, like, right before the Christmas holidays when it happened. It was, like, the 23rd, 24th, somewhere in there is when I first got sick with that shit. And then that lasted, like, pretty much all of January is what it was, dude, into, like, early February before it finally kicked out. And a lot of that was because it had turned into, like, bronchitis, and it was, like, seriously, like, a 6-week time span of just like being in shit and just being sick and everything, and it just fucking sucks, dude. And then they want to tell people, oh, well, you have autoimmune issues, like you should definitely get the Jody jabs, and I'm like, fuck you and your fucking jabs, dude, seriously. You keep having the asshole fucking government here in Ohio bitching and moaning about, like, and this is why you need to get updated flu and COVID vaccines. Like, fuck off and stop using our tax money to pay for stupid ass fucking health commercials, dude. That are definitely putting you on trial for crimes against humanity at some point in the future, by the way, because you're committing Nuremberg trials right now, dude. And the fact that you're breaking Nuremberg code with shit like that, it's like, nah, your asses are definitely getting put to the fucking on trial sometime in the future, man. And we'll make sure that fucking happens, honestly, when it's all said and done. So, and I guarantee Ohio ain't the only one doing it, man. It's probably fucking New York Department of Health, fucking New Jersey Department of Health, Maine Department of Health, Maryland Department of Health, California Department of Health, Michigan Department of Health, et cetera, like all across the fucking country is what it'll be, man. And that's the thing. It's like, no, stop wasting our tax money on stupid bullshit to push propaganda crap, is what it is. That does nothing except fuck people up and turning them into experimentation is what it is. And that's the big thing. And I've said it before, dude, like, I am legit fearful if I ever have to get a blood transfusion in this country after all this, dude, because honestly, I'm sorry. Anybody that's taking those fucking jabs should not be allowed to donate blood in this country anymore, dude, because it should be looked at as AIDS blood at this point. It should be looked at as an active AIDS virus in their blood is what it is, dude. It should definitely be considered the modern day AIDS right now. And unless you're going to give blood transfusion to other people that have this, that have the jabs and stuff like that, dude, like, nah, there's no reason for you to be donating blood then. Because you're basically going to have it go, you're going to have your antibodies and stuff like that that are all infected with some shit go into somebody who ain't infected and then infect them with your crap is what it is, dude. Like, fuck that noise, dude. Yeah, that's about as bad as in Africa when they had Ebola shit over there and stuff like that. And they had like 5 or 6 needles for like 50 people. And they were just taking a needle, shoving it in the fucking thing to give some little kid a vaccine or whatever the case be, jabbing that kid with the shit, putting the fucking same needle back in the little thing of medicine, popping up another load, putting it in the next fucking child or adult or whatever it is. And then they wondered why like 50 people in that fucking line had like Ebola or AIDS or whatever it was, dude. And it's like, yeah, because the first person has Ebola or AIDS, and then you just give it to everybody else, then is what it is. And that's why you don't share fucking needles. That's why you have one-use needles and stuff like that. That's what it is, man. So, anyway, yeah, it's just a bunch of crap entirely, dude. And honestly, with that fucker Fauci, like, he needs to be the first one on trial for that kind of stuff, dude. Him and the other woman, that Banks or Brinks, or whatever the fuck her name was, she needs to be the second one on trial. And then it's all these sitting governors that were there during the lockdowns. It's all these sitting fucking politicians that were there during the lockdowns and did nothing. All these federal government employees and stuff like that, dude. You know, all these senators, congressmen, etc. Yeah, they all need to be brought up on charges, dude, for real. Because they helped push this shit. And they definitely have done a bunch of shady stuff besides that. You know, like they definitely have committed high treason against the American people at this point, dude, is what it is. And have committed crimes against the American people as well on that one. And need to be brought to trial for is what it is, dude. Under the Nuremberg Code is what it ends up being. So, anyway, that's where we're at for today, though. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys in the next one.